Hey cousins, best friends, everybody in between. I wanted to come and talk to you guys about this show on Apple TV called Presume Innocent. First, gotta go ahead and thank Apple TV for sponsoring this video and for making this incredible show. So here's why I'm here today. Look, this show has so many twists, turns, ups and downs. Y'all know my story from Who the F Did I Marry? But the one character that has stood out for me the most has been Barbara. I know the show is surrounding Rusty, but Rusty's not the person I want to talk about. Let's look at Barbara. The reason why Barbara sticks out to me is because, y'all, I feel like I was watching scenes that literally mirrored my own life. Not to be dramatic, not to sound crazy, but if you have ever dealt with betrayal, Lord knows when you see it on TV, it can be a little triggering. And there were parts of this show that I was like, did they have a mirror or a camera in my living room when I was going through the Who the F Did I Marry in real life? Because some of this stuff felt so surreal, as if I had already went through it myself. So, looking at Barbara, there were about 4 scenes that really stood out to me where I'm just like, girl, I don't know what to do with Barbara. The very first scene, I have to say, was literally the first scene of the show, where we're introduced to Barbara lounging by her pool with her kids and her husband. And it's interesting that the first line we hear from Barbara is, hey, I thought I said we weren't doing any curveballs. And of course, we find out that the whole show is literally an entire curveball to her marriage. But what stood out is that this is just a woman who is happy. She has a beautiful family, gorgeous husband, beautiful life. And we know what's coming down the pipe in literally just 5 short minutes, where her life gets turned upside down. The second scene that stood out to me, if you guys remember, was the argument that Rusty and Barbara had in the garage. Can you say audacity? This is the scene where Rusty actually has the nerve to say to Barbara, you need to take some effing responsibility. What? Y'all, I wanted to go through my TV. I wanted to give Barbara a hug. I distinctly remember how even in my own, my own situation, we'll call it that, where when I confronted my ex-husband about his infidelity, he tried to turn it around and put the blame on me. So that was one of those scenes where I know it's a show, but I totally related to that scene where I'm showing you proof you're the one who messed up, and they try to turn it around as if it's all your fault. So when Rusty said that, I was like, I really want to go through my TV on Rusty. I did. And then I wanted to give Barbara a hug, just being honest. That was a triggering scene for me. I don't know about you, but that was a triggering scene for me. Scene number 3 that stood out to me was Barbara and Lorraine in the laundry room. So this is when Barbara's just at home, she's folding up the clothes, and she's talking to her friend Lorraine, and she's telling her friend Lorraine about the bartender. And Lorraine is like, hey, maybe this is the time for you to have some fun. Because again, Lorraine seems to be the type of friend that's like, your husband's been cheating on you. He's embarrassed you to no end. I get the fact that you love him and you want to keep your family together, which I want to point out that facial expression that Barbara gave Lorraine when Lorraine said that. She was like, girl, who? But anyway, it's the whole fact that how many of us have been done dirty by a significant other, but you always have that one friend that's trying to teach you how to get your lick back. That's trying to teach you how, hey, here's how you can get your revenge so that you feel better. I don't recommend trying to sleep with somebody else to feel better about what your husband did, but I totally understand in that moment where Lorraine was like, girl, don't sit over here crying about what Rusty's doing. Go out there and have some fun. If this man makes you feel good, then have some fun. Which brings me to my next scene that stood out, which was Barbara and the bartender. Ladies, we know that bartender looked good. Lord Jesus, he looked good. But I can totally relate to where you feel like, what did I do wrong? You find out your husband cheated. What did I do wrong? Is it something that I did? Is it something that's missing from me? And we tend to kind of put the blame and the shame on us, which is what we saw Barbara do. And here's this good-looking guy who's like not only giving her compliments, but he's actually having intellectual conversations with her. And yeah, he made her feel seen. He made her feel sexy. He made her feel heard. And so I totally get where Barbara was like, I want to enjoy this. I want to see where this can go. And she starts thinking about maybe stepping out of the marriage herself. I have no judgment towards Barbara because I get it. All right. And the last scene that really stands out to me, so this is actually number 5, is the dinner table scene. So this is where Barbara and Rusty are having dinner with their 2 kids. And Barbara decides enough is enough. I am not carrying this anymore by myself. So this is the scene where she says, hey kids, put the phones down. Your dad has something he wants to tell you. Completely putting Rusty in the limelight, on the hot seat. And Rusty was like, well, maybe there's another time that we should talk about this. And she was like, when? Now's the best time. I loved it. I cheered for her in that moment because I was like, why should you keep this? This isn't your shame to bear. You didn't do anything wrong. He needs to take responsibility and actually go ahead and be honest with his kids. So that was one of those scenes where I felt like, good for you for standing up for yourself. Because I felt like throughout the course of Presumed Innocent, we see Barbara really weighing, should I stay? Should I go? How much do I want to fight for this marriage? We clearly saw where she thought the affair between Rusty and Carolyn was over, only to find out it was not over. It had started back up. And she decided, look, I held on to this secret before, but I'm not doing it again. For every woman out there, you do not have to carry this by yourself. Overall, I am rooting for Barbara. I understand it's a show, but you know, sometimes shows can just draw you in, which is what happened with me in Presumed Innocent. I'm cheering for Barbara. I have no idea who did it. I personally don't think it was Barbara because Lord knows she had means, she had motive, because she said, I'm going to keep my family together. That was really her ultimate goal, is to keep the family unit together. She had the opportunity. And so I hope it wasn't her, but if it was, look, I would give her a character witness statement. But I'm curious, if you all have been watching Presumed Innocent, who do you think did it? We know that Rusty is the main character who's on trial. Do you think Rusty did it? Drop your note, drop your idea in the comments of who do you think killed Carolyn. Do you think it was Rusty? Do you think it was Barbara? Do you think it was one of the kids? Do you think it was Tommy? I think it was Tommy. I don't know. It's just something about him that gives me the ick. But you tell me in the comments, who do you think killed Carolyn? Talk to you guys soon. Be sure to watch it.